All right. So it's 9:30. We'll go ahead and get started. We're missing about 14 people, or pretty close to a third of the class. Um, and one of the things I did not ask or put in the emails that I sent you guys earlier, I would ask that you guys have your cameras on for class. It just kind of makes it a little bit more personal. And I get to see you folks. Um, and I understand this is the first time, and maybe some of you guys just rolled out of bed and you got bedhead. I totally get that. If that's the case, you can have it off today, but I would ask in the future, go ahead and turn them on. Um, I normally, I am not a big proponent of online classes. I normally just teach strictly face to face. That's my preferred method. Uh, but we got to do this until at least February 1st. So we'll see. Hopefully we get to see you guys in person. Um, anyway, you guys enjoy your break? A little long, ready to get back, get into a routine, you know? No more sleeping until noon or 1 o'clock like my kids have been doing. Have to roust them up. It's like, hey, half the day's gone. Let's go. Cool. So before we get rolling, I usually just like to ask a couple questions, try to get a feel for each of the classes a little bit. Pretty much, I take it everybody's a business student, correct? For the most part. And anybody graduating in May, getting ready to get out of here?
Yeah, I'll be graduating then.
Oh, Caleb's great. He's got the big red marker and he's marking off the days, man, counting them down. So good. I usually just normally when we're in class, I'll go through and see what majors and stuff. I just like to try to get an idea. Helps me kind of get a feel for the class, how to approach classes and things like that. Anybody looking to have their own business when they get out? Or anybody got it? So, okay, now you gave it a thumbs up and it doesn't, it like Full Woods. There we go. Okay, then I'm just sorry. So that way I just know, I'm like Full Woods. That's an interesting name. So Sanders is gonna want to have his own business. What type of business you thinking about?
I'm not 100% sure, but my dad owns a business and maybe inherit that or start something else. Yeah.
There you go. Hopefully not anytime soon, but hey, Pop. What type of business, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a AVL company that does audiovisual lighting for churches.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, what? Okay, audio visual.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Okay, and that's fine. And one reason I asked that too is because if we have that, I like to try to pull that in as much as possible because obviously if we can use examples and stuff like that, or you have things we can tie into the class, it'll make it more interesting for the students and hopefully get you more engaged, especially if you're wanting to take it over. But also just to try to help you guys out and help you understand how the material fits, okay? The course is called Intro to Corporate Finance. So why do we make you take this class?
To learn basic financial skills.
Okay, there you go, James. Thank you. Why else? Because it's required, right? Part of that. What are you hoping to get out of the class?
A passing grade.
What was that?
I said a passing grade.
Passing grade. Well, Ashley, I hope you guys get that. We're going to cover that in just a minute. Yes. Definitely a passing grade. What else? Anything else? Okay. Well, one of the things that I've talked to when it comes to this class, and that I try to put as much personal stuff into this class as I can. And one of the things I tell students is think about it, think of this, right? And I'll mention it more times as we go through the semester. This is one of the most practical classes you'll ever take. Okay, don't get me wrong. If you're like Sanders, audio visual, those are important and they're very important for your business. You're going to use those every day, right? But you had to have gen ed, okay? And I don't know, did you take like art for gen ed, Sanders?
I took like an art history course, but that was
Okay.
about it.
Have you been using that much lately?
Not really.
No, not really, right? And nothing against that. It does give us an appreciation for the, culture and things like that, and that's nice. But really, we don't use that unless we go to a museum or something, right? But finance you use every day in your life. There's James. Hey, buddy, what's happening?
What's up?
James, you had me for personal finance, right?
Yeah, about 5 years ago.
Has it been that long? Jeez. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Been a while, man.
So the other class, folks, I'll tell you, I'll put as much personal stuff in as I can. James had me for personal finance, and he can kind of, as we go through, it'll be like, oh yeah, you talked about that before or whatever. But one of the things I will recommend to you guys, if you can fit that personal finance into your class, into your schedule, it'll give you such a leg up on your fellow students, okay? But as we go through this course, one of the things I want you to understand, if the concepts work for a business, right, they will work for you. So what we teach, what makes a business successful, those main concepts, you've got to apply to your own life. And the thing you need to think about from this point on, hopefully, is you have to treat yourself like a business. Okay? And so, and we'll expand on that as we go through the semester, okay? So just keep that thought in mind. If it works for a business, it's going to work for you, and we'll parallel those as we go through the semester, okay? What I put up here for you guys to see as you came in, I love this saying from J.J. Watt. It is so true. Your success, and I go through this with my kids every day. Like I said, they're sleeping until noon. I'm like, guys, we got stuff to do. We got to get going. And oh, Dad, there are times that you need to lay back, but really, the success isn't one big thing that happens to you. It's a bunch of little things that you put in process, and you take each step a day at a time, right? So we'll progress as we go through this. Saunders, you mentioned hopefully inheriting your dad's business. Folks, when I was in undergrad, I absolutely knew I was going to have my own business, had no idea what I wanted to do, and I really didn't keep a focus on it or work on it. And so it took me about 10 years after graduation before I had my own business, okay? And part of it was because I got involved and I didn't take the little steps each day. I thought, man, if I started a business, it had to be like Walmart right out of the box or Amazon right out of the box, and so my thought process was a little skewed on that. So that's why I like to ask you guys about that. Let's bring those concepts into the classroom, make it interesting for you, and understand we start small and it grows from there, okay? Just like pretty much everything that we're going to do. So let's jump into this. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over we'll go through As You Learn and go over the syllabus. I'm going to jump into the syllabus first, and then we'll come back to As You Learn, okay? So I opened this up for you guys. You guys had a chance to go through it and look at it, whether you did or not, that's fine. And I just wanted you guys to be ready to go. The main thing was making sure you had the calculator, because we're going to use that right out of the gate, okay? So we're talking about Intro to Corporate Finance. We're going to study key concepts and tools to help students gain an understanding of corporate finance and decision making. We're going to talk about capital budgeting, time value money, major purchases, replacement decisions. So we're going to start out, quite honestly, down here with time value money. We're going to come right out of the gate with one of the most important concepts you need to grasp to be successful in life financially. Okay. Then we're going to talk about stocks and bonds. Then we're going to get into financial analysis and things like that. And we'll get into markets and interest rates when we talk stocks and bonds. And so that's kind of what we're going to go through as we go through the semester. Now, I am Mr. B or Mr. Boobalus. You call me whatever you can pronounce. Most students call me Mr. B. This is just FYI. Hopefully we'll get into person in February. So if we do, my office is in Peacock Hall. I'm on the 4th floor, 4015A. So if you come up the steps, turn right, and walk straight down the hallway, it brings you right into my office, okay? I put my number up here, but quite honestly, you're not gonna need that. I'm not gonna be there a whole lot while you guys are off campus. Email is gonna be the best way to get in touch with me. We have our As You Learn site there, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. My office hours, okay? I have office hours dedicated 9 to 12, Monday and Wednesday for you guys. I'm not going to be on campus probably until you guys get on campus. So basically it'll be by appointment. If you make an appointment with me, we can either meet in my office for those of you that are in town, or we can do it on Zoom, however you want. And I'll show you that link here in just a minute, okay? The Zoom stuff, we will need prior approval just so that you don't hit it and I'm doing something with my kids or something like that and miss out, okay? The book is Fundamentals of Corporate Finance, Ross, Westerfield, and Jordan, 12th edition. Make sure it's the 12th edition. Did everybody get their books?
Yes.
Okay, anybody not have their book?
I don't have my book yet.
Okay, is it one of those where they were mailing it to you, James?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Not a problem. We'll work around that. Just, I'll be honest with you, last semester I had one student go almost a month without a book. It was tough. It was tough. So we'll work around that issue, okay? Hopefully you'll get it in the next day or two. Did they tell you when you expect it? No? James, what about you?
I got mine. I ordered it the week before last and got it in like 4 business days.
Okay. All right. And James, Brian, they have no idea when yours is coming?
It should be soon, but I'm not sure yet.
All right. And like I said, we'll work around it. All right. Don't worry about that. Don't stress. Okay. Here we go. Communication, folks. Like I said, most everything's going to be email. Okay. One thing I'm going to be very hard on with the email. Okay. If you send me an email, it needs to have this Finance 3680 there. Okay. If not, I'll delete it. You guys know how many emails you're getting from the school with COVID and the daily health check thing and this, that, and the other. If I see Finance 3680, I know that's coming from a student. Those I put to the top of the list. Generally, I'll respond to those. Unless I'm in class, generally you'll get a response almost right away if it's something important. If you're just asking me, hey, what's up with the next chapter or whatever, it might be a little bit before I get to you. But if you send me an email, hey, I need to know when the next quiz is due or whatever, I'll respond. I may say check as you learn, or hey, it's due tomorrow or whatever. But if I see Finance 3680, I know that's a student, and I'll get you guys just as soon as I can. If you could put 106 in there also, just so I know which group of students I'm dealing with. Generally, I treat all my classes the same, so it's not that big a deal, but it just helps me narrow that down a little bit. All right, the other thing with email, okay? Folks, I'm gonna be honest with you. With texting and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff, you guys are used to using emojis and very few words, right? When you email me, just like my emails to you, it needs to be, you need to address, hey, Mr. Boobalus, or hey, Mr. B, with the question and who it is from, okay? I don't like having to hunt up who it's from. And just like Sanders there with his email came up, I had no clue. He's got a little unusual name. So I don't know what I need to respond to. So if you don't put that on there, I'm deleting your email. I'm not even going to read it and take my time. Okay. Partly because, folks, you're adults now. I'm here to help you transition from college life to professional life. When you get out in the real world, your boss is not going to put up with, hey, dude, when's that project due that you gave me last week? What the hell is that? That's no. So just be professional on it. I'm not asking, I don't care if you misspell words or whatever, but let's put a subject in there so I know what I'm dealing with. Address me, put your name on there so when I return it, I can go, hey, Saunders, this is the answer to your question. See whatever, Mr. B. Okay. That's how you will get them from me. If I send it to everybody throughout all my classes, it'll say, hey guys, that's how I started. I was Southern born, Northern bred. So I refer to guys as just everybody in the group and things like that. But that's going to be when it's a mass email. When it's one-on-one, I will use your name specifically. Okay. And I ask you to do the same thing. Emails without any identifying information, I just delete them. I don't worry about it. If it doesn't have the 3680, chances are it's deleted also. Okay. The way the course is organized, we're going to follow the book. There'll be assignments for every chapter. Okay. There's going to be quizzes for every chapter. We're going to have 2 projects that we're going to do and 4 exams. So that's what the course is going to be made up of. And we'll go over that a little bit later. Hopefully you guys you're responsible for being registered. I hope you guys are. I did have a couple of people who said that they got in late for whatever reasons or needed authorization. That has to go through the department chair. I sent you the link for that. I don't care how many people are in my class. The more the merrier for me, but the school has different ideas on that. So you're responsible for making sure that you are officially registered and everything else. Okay. I got a typo in there I need to correct. You're responsible for all the assigned material. I won't do handouts. I'll send stuff out in email or whatever, but you're responsible for all the homework, any class presentations. If you miss class, okay, and you ask me, hey, do you have the notes? I generally don't keep the notes. I treat each class different. I have an outline so that the information that we talk about is the same for each class. But like if Sanders comes up and we're talking about cash flow and he comes up and says, hey, I got a question about cash flow dealing with my family's business. Can we look at that? Then that's what I'm going to do. So that information is specific to your class. So if you miss a class, I'm going to ask you, just get the notes from somebody in your class. Okay. I don't keep the notes, mainly because just like that, I'm not going to keep Sanders' business stuff to share with everyone. I'm going to delete that as soon as we're done with class. Okay. So just be aware of that. If you miss class, just get the notes from one of your fellow students. Okay. I expect you to read prior to class. So those of you like Ashley and James Bryant there that don't have the book yet, don't sweat it. Like I said, we'll make arrangements for that. But when you get the book, I expect you to be up on the stuff ahead of time. The reason for that is when we get talking about business or we get talking about a subject, rather than talking about something that you already know and are comfortable with, let's not spend the time on that. Let's spend the time on stuff that you don't know. So if you're like, hey, I totally understand corporations and I totally get sole proprietorships, but I don't understand businesses or partnerships and why there might be an issue. Let's spend our time on that subject rather than the other 2 subjects, right? So that's why I want you guys to have the material be into it ahead of time and come in with those questions. It's going to be much better and we learn a lot more if you guys are asking questions and we're delving into your questions rather than listening to me. I've done this. I've owned them and done it for 20 years in operation. I've been teaching it for like 10 or 12 years. Okay. So I know this stuff and sometimes I forget what you don't know when you're new. So I might think, hey, these guys have this and I'm moving on. No, slow down, ask questions. That's the only way I'm going to know, especially in this format. If we're in class, I could look and see, hey, James Wheeler's got the deer in the headlight look. I better find out what's going on and why he doesn't seem to be on page with me. Okay. So just be prepared, ask questions. Every day, have your book with you. I'm a very visual person, so I'm going to refer to the book for graphs and charts and things like that. I like to use those, so I'll go back to that and refer to that. Make sure you have your calculators every day. We're going to use those, especially coming out of the gate, right out of the gate. We're going to use those calculators and use them, okay? Now, with cell phones, I know with the dual authorization thing, sometimes you need those to get on your computer or to open up your computer. That is fine. But I will tell you this, after you do that, put that thing, just mute it. Don't even have it on vibrate. I can hear those things vibrate and it just drives me nuts. I don't like the interruption. People that have songs on their thing. I had one student who had Big Green Tractor and it would go off and just drive me absolutely insane. So please just turn them off. Now, if you're graduating or you got a job interview or you're expecting, hey, I got a job, you know, for the seniors or junior, an interview for an internship or whatever, totally get that. If that, and this is going to apply to when we're in person, okay? But I'm just going to cover it now. Because hopefully, I pray to God we get back February 1st. Because that's what I just like to do. If we do, our class will be in the student union right there at Cascades in the big ballroom, okay? But if you do, and it's, hey, I got an interview or, you know, put your phone on vibrate, I have no problem with that. Sit by a door at the back of the room. So if it goes off, you slip out, take care of business and come right back. Totally fine with that, okay? If you're sick, tell me that ahead of time. Hey, man, whew, I ate some of that sushi over in River Street, and man, it is not sitting well with me. Sit at the back of the class. Matt, if you need to take care, you slide out, take care of what you need to, come right back. Not a problem, right? The one thing I do not like, and I'll tell you this, and James was in my class, James Wheeler was in my class, he'll tell you, if Matt is up front and he doesn't tell me that, and he's sitting in front of me in that classroom and he gets up and heads for the door, you want to talk about lighting my fire, man. That just lights me up instantly. Before Matt hits that door, I'm going to ask him, where are you going? What are you doing? And part of that is because when he does that, I'm going to totally lose the whole class for about 5 minutes because they're going to wonder, where's Matt going? Why doesn't he want to hear what's going on in class? What's happening? Is he sick? Does he have is his girlfriend out there? Or did he eat something bad at lunch? Did he have a job interview? So I lose them when they go out. And then when you come back in, I'm going to lose the class again. Wow, he wasn't gone that long, or he's been gone a while. Wonder what went on or whatever. Okay. Folks, for me, that is very important. So what I'm going to tell you, I call that taking care of your business. Do that before class. We're adults. The class is an hour and 15 minutes. You know, the world isn't going to end in the hour and 15 minutes we're in class. If it does, your cell phone or whatever isn't going to help us anyway. Okay. But just to me, it's respect for not only me, but also for your fellow classmates. If Matt leaves like that, everybody in the class is going to wonder where he's going. If he's sick and he's sitting by the door, he can slip out and doesn't interfere with anybody else. Okay. So just know that that's one of those things. And also I'll probably send Matt an email going, hey, tell me what went on and why you're more important than everybody else in the class. Okay. Anyway, all right. So you need a financial calculator. That I told you guys that. I sent that out before Christmas, so hopefully you got it for Christmas gift or whatever. Okay, this is the calculator I will use. It's a BA2 Plus or Professional. I mentioned getting the BA2 Plus. BA2 Plus is like $35. I think this one's $45. Not a big deal. Either one. This one just does a few more things that the other one doesn't. Okay, but this is what I'm going to use in class. So if Haley asks me a question, hey, how do you work that out on the calculator? This is what I'm going to pull up. And if she's using the same one, she can see exactly how to work it out. The other reason I recommend this calculator is for you finance majors. When you go take your Series 6 or Series 7 or any of those qualifying certification exams, you cannot use a programmable calculator, and this is what they're going to have you use. Okay? So you might as well just get in the habit of using it now. All right?
Will a TI-84 calculator be all right?
You know what? It is, and I was just getting ready to touch base on that. If you have the 8384, not a problem with that, but I'm going to tell you something. I don't use those. I don't know how to use them. You're on your own on that, okay? So you'll just have to Google or YouTube or whatever it is. I know one or two things on it, and that's it, okay? But you're more than welcome to use those. I don't have a problem with that, okay? Homework questions, problems I give homework at the end of each chapter. They're assigned, I cover it, but I do not collect it. I got 140, 50 some odd students. I'm not grading homework. I'm just not going to do it, okay? The homework is designed for you to help you get ready for the exam, okay? I don't know if any of you guys are athletes or whatever. One of the things I do is I try to make the homework harder than exam time. You know, try to practice. You practice the way you play. So if the problems are real hard, then you get to the exam should be easy. Okay. So in the past experience, okay, if you do the homework and do it ahead of time, don't come watch me do it, because I've done it. I've done this stuff for 20 years. I can go through a problem real fast. Okay. I need you guys to do it ahead of time so you come in with questions. So Adrian can go, I hope I said that right. Did I say that? I didn't say that, did I?
Yeah, you said it right.
Adrian?
Yeah, it's Adrian.
Adrian, okay, good. You know, if Adrian comes in and goes, hey, Mr. B, I didn't understand the cash flow in problem 17, how you got to that, how we got this operating cash flow. Great, let's spend time on that. Rather, because if she doesn't do that, I'm going to go, here's how we do the problem, boom, 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 boom. Okay, problem 18, here we go, boom, 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 boom. So if you guys don't ask questions, I'm assuming you're on the train and we're going down the track. Otherwise, Sanders is going to be sitting there at the depot watching the train and class is leaving without him, okay? If you do that, folks, I'm telling you, you will be successful in this class, okay? Now, very important note, make sure all of you are paying attention on this. If you are a business major, you need a C in this class as a prereq for some of your other classes, okay? So if you're finance or whatever, especially if you're finance, you need at least a C in this. RMI, things like that, you got to have a C in this class to move on and take some of those other classes. Okay, is everybody good? Everybody understand that? I want to make sure we're very clear on it. And we'll come back to that again. Okay, chapter assignments. You will have a reading assignment. I expect you to read before you come to class. Okay, that way you have questions. You're prepared for what I'm going to talk about. And you have some insight into what we're going to talk about, because I'm a very interactive professor. James will tell you, James Wheeler, I like to ask questions and go, hey, James, what did you think about this? And you know, I didn't read it. Okay, well, not a problem, but you know, you never know. I like volunteers. If I don't get volunteers, I get voluntold. You know what that is? Everybody familiar with that? That's where I go, hey, Eric, tell me what your thought process is on why a corporation is better than a partnership. Oh, I didn't read the chapter. Okay. I'll let it go this time, but I'm still going to call on you later on. Next time when we get into the next chapter, I'm going to call on you again to see if you learned or if you read. Okay. Reading should be done before we have class. The quiz is done online. Okay. I already talked about the homework. Quizzes, while we're on there. Primary purpose of the quizzes, folks, is to get you to try to digest this information a bite at a time. You know, I don't want Carrie sitting there going, oh crap, we got a test tomorrow and I'm going to try to cram in 3 chapters of stuff in one night. Folks, with what we're doing, it's going to be very difficult to do that. But if I can get Carrie to take a bite, hey, here's chapter 5. Okay, I got that. Here's chapter 6 that builds on chapter 5. Then it's going to be easier for her. Okay, rather than try to cram it all in at one time. Okay. And I'm bad at procrastination, so I try to help discourage procrastination. Okay. All quizzes will be done online. Quizzes are based on the chapter assignment, so it'll help you out if you do the quizzes. You can do them. There is no time limit. I have some students who'll get on there and take the quiz in 15 minutes. I have some students get on there and take a quiz in 2 hours. Whatever it takes for you to get it done, that is fine. You can take the quiz as many times as you want. Okay. And I only count the highest grade. So if you're like, hey, I got a 7, I'm done, fine. But if you're like, I want that 10, then you can take it as many times as you need to get a 10 on that quiz. Okay. Quizzes will always be open at least 2 days. So you're going to have a quiz for chapter 5 Thursday. So that means it's open today. I opened it up earlier. It'll close Thursday. It'll close 1 hour before your class. So that quiz for you guys will close at 8:30 in the morning. Okay. You got as much, you can take it as many times as you want. If we finish material on Thursday and we're going to start something new on Tuesday, then you got 5 days to take that quiz. However you want to do it. Okay. They will always be open at least 2 days. Okay. You'll be able to review your answers afterward. So it'll say, you know, if you get a question wrong, you can go back in and see what's going on. They will not be open later. So like if you, hey, I want to see, can you open the quizzes for me to study for the exam? No, I'm not going to do that. You can go back and review the attempts that you took, but I'm not opening it up again. Okay. I do not give makeup quizzes. Folks, we have a schedule. It's on As You Learn. You're going to have a minimum 2 days notice of any quizzes. If you miss it, I'm sorry, you just missed it. Okay. Now, if Lewis comes and says, hey, Mr. B, man, I was riding my bike on campus and the, apple cart hit me and I had a concussion and I was in a coma and I missed the exam or missed the quiz. And I go, Lewis, show me where you were at the doctor. And he shows me the hospital thing. Fine, I'll let you make up the quiz. Okay. But if he comes to me and goes, hey, Mr. B, man, I don't know. I didn't know we had a quiz today. Sorry, Lewis, take the 0, enjoy, and we'll move on from there and don't let it happen again. Okay. Note about technical difficulties. If Lewis comes to me and goes, hey, Mr. B, man, my computer crashed out after class the other day and I didn't take the quiz. Not an excuse. You guys have roommates, borrow one of your roommates or come to the library and take it on the ASU computers. There's plenty of ways. You can take it on your phone, Okay, so there's no reason to miss a quiz. The only technical reason I'll take for missing a quiz is if ASU's As You Learn system craps out or something like that. Otherwise, no excuse. Okay, is everybody good there? Any questions there?
Yeah, I had a question really quickly.
Yeah.
You said with the quizzes, so they won't be reopened to study for the test, but you said you can review the attempts you've already done. So like we've taken it, we can see what we got right and wrong later on, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not going to open it for you to take them over and over and over again.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure we could go back and view our past attempts to study for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing with that too, Malcolm, is the more you take it, the more exposure you get to the material. What I have probably about 100 questions for each chapter, and it'll pull 10 out at a time.
Okay.
So if you want more exposure to the material, even after you get a 10 on the quiz, you can keep taking it to get different questions and see different things that you might have to deal with.
Perfect.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. I don't drop quizzes. Okay. Medical emergencies, again, family emergencies, I don't take those as an excuse. Like if it's due, you have multiple days, So like I was talking about with Lewis earlier, if he comes up, ooh, man, I ate the sushi and man, I had food poisoning. Yeah, I know I've had that before. It lasts, 24 hours. You had 48. What'd you do the other 24? Okay. Okay. The only thing, like I said, the only reason for makeups is if there's a problem with as you learn. Okay. Exams, there are going to be 4 exams. Exams are going to be harder than the quizzes. Okay. Obviously, hopefully. The exams will be based on whatever happens in class. So whatever happens from 9:30 when we start class to when we end class, that is up for the exam. Okay. If we have a guest speaker come in, anything that speaker presents or talks about, I can put that on the exam too. Okay. So anything that happens during class time is up for the exam. All right. Again, you won't have any handouts. I'll send all that out through email. The exams, exam 1 is going to be chapters 5 and 6. So we're going to talk about time value money. Very important subject here, man. I get super excited on this stuff. James can tell you from previous, when we get on that, man, that is extremely important. If you guys will understand that concept, you're going to be miles ahead financially of your fellow students. Okay. So that is, I'll get really excited, talk fast and everything when we get into that. Chapter 7 and 8, we're talking about stocks, bonds, and interest rates. You put the information from chapter 5 and 6 with 7 and 8, your guys should be good and not have any financial worries, except for you make mistakes or you didn't pay attention. Okay. Chapters 1 through 4, that's going to be the basics, kind of review of your accounting stuff. And then we get into 9 and 10, capital budgeting decisions, replacing equipment and things like that. Sanders looking at when do we need to replace an audio board, or how do we make that decision, or whatever. Okay. Folks, one of the things I'm going to tell you, do not come to me when we finish chapter 7 and go, when's the exam? I'm going to tell you, look on As You Learn. It's when we finish chapter 8. Well, when is that? I don't know. Whenever we get done with chapter 8. We're in chapter 7 now. We're going to get into chapter 8. So it's coming soon. Okay. When that'll be depends on how we go as a class. If the class is going pretty good, it might be sooner than I think. If it's, hey, man, we're struggling to understand these concepts, it might be later than I think. It'll be when we finish chapter 8. So we get into, and this always happens, we get into chapter 2 and people are like, when's the exam? When we finish chapter 4. Don't ask me those questions. They just irritate me. Okay. The final is not cumulative, namely because if you don't know what we did in these first parts, you're not going to know what we did down here. So if you get like a 30 on the first exam with chapters 5 and 6, don't sit and go, I'm going to wait until chapter 7, 8 and see if I do better to get help. 7 and 8 build on 5 and 6. So if you didn't understand what we did in 5 and 6, you're behind the curve to learn 7 and 8. So if you didn't do good on the first exam, you need to start making appointments with me to come to my office or Zoom or whatever we're doing to get the help you need to get you back on track. I will do whatever I need to do to get you on the train with us. But if you're not asking me questions and you're not asking me for help, I can't help you. Okay? You guys are adults. If Sanders is sitting there popping 30s on his exam, Sanders, you're an adult. I'm not going to come hold your hand and go, Sanders, let me help you. No, that's your job. You're paying for it. Okay. By the way, the other thing I'll tell you when we're talking, since that just brought up another thought. Folks, I don't take attendance. Okay. You guys are adults. It's called return on investment. You are paying money for this class. If you want the information, you will be there. If you don't want the information, that's fine with me. Don't take it harsh. Like I said, I'm not your dad. Okay. So if Sanders, and some of you guys are paying for your own school. Some of you guys, your mom and dad are, if Sanders comes up and has an F, what happened? I'm going to be like, where you been? Did you come to my office? No. Have you been asking for help? No. Enjoy your F, Sanders. I guess I'll see you next semester. Okay. So don't get me wrong. I want you guys here. I love helping students. This is my passion. Okay. But if you don't want it, I can't force myself. I can't force my help on you. I almost said something wrong. That was going to come out bad. I can't help you if you don't want the help, okay? And I'm not going to chase you down for it. You guys are adults. I'm willing to go as far as I need to help you get through this class, okay? All right. The schedule, we'll look at the schedule here. All that's posted on As You Learn. It provides close times and dates, but that may change. So we'll take a look at that. Class participation, okay? One reason I don't like this is it's hard for people or it's easy for people not to participate in class. You got a bunch of you don't have your cameras on, and I get that. I'll let it slide today because I didn't let you know ahead of time, but I will ask you to have them on next time, okay? I get to see the interaction, get to see the body language. Like I said, if James Wheeler isn't understanding something, I can see that in class. It's a little bit harder here. But we will learn more and the class will be more fun if you guys are asking questions, okay? Because I can see what you don't. When we teach this stuff for so long, sometimes we forget what it's like to be a newbie and not know. You know, we're like, God, everybody knows that. Well, we forget. We didn't know that when we started. So if you're not asking questions, it's easy for us just to chunk the train moves down the track, right? Okay. So get involved. You can ask James Wheeler. He'll tell you, I like to have fun in class. I like to pick on students. I like students picking on me. If you're one that doesn't, you know, I ask for volunteers or I'll call you out by name. If you're one that's nervous about that, see me or shoot me an email afterward and I'll pull back on that. That doesn't mean I'm not going to call on James Wheeler ever in the class. It just means I might only call on him once in a blue moon rather than talking to him on a regular basis. Okay, so understand that. However, I will tell you, it helps if you guys get involved. The class has more fun. I get more in tune with the students. It's just more engaging. If you guys don't ask questions, you don't want to listen to me drone for an hour and 15 minutes. I don't want to do that. And if you guys aren't asking questions, or it's like, man, I just can't connect with this class, man, we're going to get through the material just so I can get on to another class. Okay? That's just human nature. Okay? Participation is not required, but I will tell you this, folks, it does come into play a little bit when I'm looking at exams or looking at your final grades, right? If I'm sitting there and I see Noah's got a 79, and I look and I'm like, Noah, let's see, what's your, I don't see your whole last name, Noah, I'm sorry. But so if I look and I see Noah and I'm like, who's Noah? I don't even know who that guy is. You know, I don't remember him. But if I see, if Noah's been involved in class, asking questions, you know, I can see he's prepared, he's done the homework. And like, if I'm going through and go, how do we calculate operating cash flow based off this income statement? And Noah's jumping in and answering questions and things. Then at the end of the semester, that's 79. I go, oh yeah, I know he's been involved, and man, he just had a rough spat. He'll get an 80. Otherwise, though, it's no, enjoy your C+. Okay. So that does come into play, folks. And that's nothing against the introverts. If you're introverted, that's fine. I'm not going to hold that against you. Okay. All right, let's talk about grades. The grade is it's a weighted average. Okay, your projects, we'll have 2 projects, one after chapter 6, one when we get to chapters 9 and 10. They're 5% each for a total of 10% of your grade. Your quizzes, look at that, 40% of your quizzes is on your own, or 40% of your grade, your quizzes, you can take as many times as you want, as much time as you want, using whatever you want to take those, okay? So that's going to be 40% of your grade. Your exams are 50%. Folks, listen to me very carefully. Don't come to this happens every semester. And like I said with Sanders earlier, if Sanders comes to me during the final and goes, Mr. B, what can I do to get my grade up? The only thing left is the final. There is nothing you can do to get your grade up. So all inquiries about your grades need to be addressed the last week of class. That's, I think April 30th is the last day. After that, I only deal with the final. So if Sanders comes to me and he goes, hey, I got a question about exam 1. It's like, you're taking the final in 2 days. That ship sailed. I'm sorry. Now, If he got a 30 on it, and he's like, hey, he's been involved in moving, then we'll keep him going and we'll get him ready for the next few exams, right? Okay. The grade, you guys know what your grades are. So if you need help with those, come see me early. Don't wait till the end because it's too late. You can't, 100 on the final isn't going to go from take your 60 grade up to the 75 that you need. It's just not going to happen. Okay. Makeup exams. I don't do makeup exams for unexcused absences. Okay. So if Eric's sitting there, I had a student last semester that sent me a text. We have an exam today. I'm like, were you in class Tuesday? Why are you asking? I'm like, well, then you know if we had an exam today. You know, if Eric's like, you know, I didn't know we had an exam today, or I didn't know we had an exam the last class. Can I make it up? Nope. Sure can't. Okay. The reason for that is because the class before the exam, we're going to do a review for the exam. The class before that, I'm going to tell you at least a week ahead when the exam is. So if Eric comes to me and goes, I didn't know we had an exam, Eric just told on himself that he hasn't been in class at least 2 days. Should I let him make the exam up for the rest of you that have been there and ready and prepared? I don't think so. Okay. If I do give one, and again, now if Eric comes to me and goes, hey, Mr. B, you know, I was kind of like with Matt and got hit by the apple cart and we were both in a coma together. He shows me his note. Great. I'll let you make up the exam, Eric. But anything else, pretty much not. Now, again, we're here for you guys to get out. So if Eric comes to me and goes, hey, Mr. B, I know the exam's scheduled for this day and I've got a job interview at this time and that's the only time I could get the interview and it's in Charlotte or whatever, or it's on the phone. Hey, not a problem. What I'm going to ask Eric to do is take the exam early to get it off his plate so he can go focus on that interview. And that way all his attention's on the interview and not, God, I got to get this done. Then I got to go take that exam and this, that, and the other. If you got athletics or whatever it is, I don't have a problem with that. You're here for college. You're here for fun. But I want you to we'll probably take care of that ahead of time so it's off your plate and you don't have to worry about it. Okay. Grades, all the grades are rounded up to the nearest whole number. So don't come to me at the end of the semester and go, wow, if you round this up, I'll get this grade. I've already done that throughout the whole semester. So you grade your grade. Okay. Again, just in case you missed it the first time, if you're a business student, you need to have a C in this class to take to move on in the business courses. Okay. So just make sure you're very well aware of that. Okay. There's the grading scale. You guys have seen that. Not a problem there. Any questions on any of that or anything I've covered so far? Everybody good? All right. Okay. Academic honesty, folks, I expect you to be honest. You're adults. Don't, you know, if you don't know it, you don't know it. It's not the end of the world. Okay. Just be completely honest with yourself. Along those lines, guys, I'm going to tell you something. You guys, James will tell you, I'm easily distracted. You know, you can ask me something and I'll be like, yeah, let's talk about that. You know, or we'll be talking about something and I might have this thought that comes into my mind and we're going to take a detour. Some of those detours are great, kind of like the Blue Ridge Parkway. You get the scenic overlook and there's great information in them. Sometimes they run into a dead end and I totally forget what the heck I was doing or where I was going with that detour. So we'll have to back up and I'll ask you, you know, hey, what were we talking about before we went that way? Okay. And I'm a very one-track mind type person. So if Sanders comes and asks me a question, like I had one student who would ask me about credit deferred swaps and stuff like that. I'm not an investment banker. I don't look into that. I don't pay attention to any of that. So if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you straight up, you know, Megan, I'm sorry, I don't have the answer right now. I may need to let me think about it and I'll tell you the next class, or if it's something where I'll send an email to Megan if it's a one-on-one question, or if it's something for the whole class, I'll send it out and go, hey, here's the answer to Megan's question. A lot of times if my mind's going this way and somebody asks me a question going this way, sometimes I can't switch tracks to think about that and process it. Okay. So if I don't know, I'm just going to tell you, I don't have the PhD, don't want a PhD. My experience is more hands-on practical work experience. Okay. So let's just, the other part of this, folks, be completely honest with me. As you've probably seen, I'm not the most PC professor, and I won't be. I'm going to tell you straight up what the situation is, because I can't sit here and tell Ashley, well, Ashley, your grade is kind of in the forest of a D to an A, but I'm not exactly sure. We're kind of at the fork in the road, and depending on what you do and where you go, you might get, she doesn't know what the heck I'm talking about. Whereas if I go, hey, Ashley, you got a D and you need a C to get where you want to go, you need to come see me and let's get this done. Then she knows exactly where she is and what's going on. Okay. That being said, the other part of it too, folks, be completely honest with me, because when you contact me or ask me for help or situation or whatever, I'm going to make decisions to interact and respond to your request. So if Caleb's sitting there and you know, if he went out on Wednesday night and had a real wild time and he's hungover Thursday morning and he's like, Mr. B, man, I just can't make class. I am so hungover and dehydrated. I'll be like, Caleb, great. 2 aspirin, drink a lot of water. I'll see you Tuesday. Hope you get feeling better. Okay. But if he's not upfront and honest with me, I'm going to make decisions based on whatever information you students give me, and it might not be the right course for your situation if it's not the correct information. Okay, folks, I'm a 2-time graduate of ASU. I graduated in 91 and 01. I've run my own businesses. I've taught. I was a magistrate judge for a while. You aren't going to come up with any excuses that some doped up, drugged up, drunk person hasn't told me in my courtroom. Okay. So just be honest with me and everything will be great. I don't care what it is. I'm here to help you and do the best I can for you and help you get down the road. And I'm willing to do that. Just be honest with me. Okay. And with each other. All right. Incomplete grade. Well, is it moving? There we go. Incomplete grades. If we get into that situation, we'll deal with it. I think I've only had that situation one time in all the time I've taught. So it's rare. Disabilities, if there's any of that, not a problem. We can work with that. I work with ODS quite a bit. No issues there. If you have anything there, we'll work on that. Text statement, basically, I don't know. If anybody's ever read all this, thank God, God bless them. Basically, no excuse for any tech thing unless ASU completely goes down. That being said, before I forget, I can't remember if it's the MacBook or the Chromebook. When we do the projects and stuff, those have issues sending the information in the Excel format. So if you have one of those platforms, folks, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be on you to make sure you get it to me in the format I'm asking it in. Okay. The projects are in Excel. One of them saves temporary files, and the Excel macro cannot grade a temporary file. So make sure when we get to that point, if you have one of those, and you'll know, just make sure we get that taken care of and addressed. Okay.
If we have MacBooks, should we just go ahead and go to the library to do the Excel projects?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you can. I think you can do it on a thumb drive, and then go use the library. Use their book, use their computer to send it, just to make sure it's in the right format. But we'll, like I said, when we get there, we'll talk more about that when we get there. That's just heads up for a couple of weeks down the road.
Okay.
The other thing is respondents. Hopefully, we'll get to in person. If we get back to in person, we'll do the exams in class on paper, all that good stuff. I'm kind of old school. If not, then Respondus will be a lockdown browser that we use to proctor our exams. And I have a quiz set up to make sure that's on your computer, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes, okay? And some of you guys may have used that with your other classes, okay? Health and safety, we're gonna do what we need to do with the COVID stuff, situation, all that stuff, whatever we need there. Like I said, our classroom will be in Fleming's, we'll be in the ballroom, basically one person per table. Everybody will be spread out, not an issue, okay? Any questions on any of that stuff so far? Everybody good? Okay, all right, let's look at the syllabus real quick, or not the syllabus, as you learn. So for the course, you guys found that here's where the Zoom meetings will be for the classes. If you Zoom up in the corner here, this is what's on my email. So if you ask me to, hey, can I Zoom with you or whatever, that's the link that we're going to use for the Zoom for questions and things like that, okay? Here's the course schedule. Now, folks, these dates are kind of random, or they're approximate, and they'll be pretty close. If, you know, I've got flexibility built in here so that if we're moving faster and you guys are all on top of this material, we might bump this exam up. If it's, wow, I need to spend an extra day on this stuff, I feel like I need to really get in there with them, then we can bump this back. So these dates are approximate, okay? They are not set in stone. The only dates on this calendar that are set in stone are right here, the final exam dates. That's set by ASU. That's when we will take our exams. So for you guys, it's May 6th at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's the only thing you can put in your calendar right now. Okay. Is everybody good? Questions on that?
I've got a question about exam 2. You've got chapters 7 through 9 on there. I'm assuming it's just 7 and 8.
It's right? 7 and 8. Yeah. No, 9's down here with this one. 9's down here with the final. Yeah, that's 7 and 8. I'll fix that later on. Let's see. Whoop, not that one. Where's my other tab here? Oh, here we go. Here's the chapter assignments. So this is the minimum homework I expect you guys to do. Okay. We will do other problems. I may come in here and, like, for chapter 2, it says 1 through 16, 18, 19, 20. I might come in and go, okay, let's do problem 25. And part of that is to see, do you understand the material? Did you grasp it? How well are you taking it in? Or did you just do the minimum? Okay. So this is what the minimum I will expect from you guys for each chapter. Okay. Let's see. If you have questions on homework, I put the solutions manual up there. This is the solutions manual for every question in the book. So if you get stuck, you can come here and find some help if you're working on it on your own. Okay. We will go over the homework and things like that. But if you're like, man, I just don't understand, and you're trying to work through it, you can come here and kind of find whatever you need to. Okay. Let's see. So I also put on, I help with the Finance Student Association. I'm the director of the internships for the finance department. So I put the Finance Student Association info on here for you folks that are juniors, maybe looking at or haven't picked your major yet. If you want to get involved in groups, I'll always update this with their latest info. Each section, like chapter 5, this is chapter 5, time, value, money. Every section starts with a PowerPoint. I generally don't use the PowerPoints to teach, namely because I find students always want to write what's on the PowerPoint instead of listening to the conversation about the PowerPoint and taking notes there. So I generally don't use PowerPoint. I will refer to them a couple of times during the semester just because the stuff is already laid out in some spreadsheets and it makes it easy. Every chapter, like here's the quiz, it's already open for you guys and it's due at 8:30 Thursday. Those of you that don't have the book, don't sweat it. We'll make some arrangements there. This is a quiz for respondents. This put if we need it. We don't know if we'll need it, but I don't want to wait till the last minute and have students rushing to try to get respondents. This quiz is open, and you have I think actually you have a week to get that on your computer. It's not graded. It's like 3 questions. It's just to make sure you get that software on your computer far ahead of when we need it. I had students last semester, we're going to take the exam, and they're like, I don't have respondents. I didn't put it on. Not my problem. You're going to spend your time putting respondents on your computer rather than taking the exam. So I'm going to have that deadline early to make sure it's done. Okay. Videos. I do have some videos that I put up about stuff that I don't have them because we're in person. I did this last semester when we were teaching online, and if you need them, I can open those up, but generally I don't open those up, and I know you guys don't see that on your site. There's always a forum there, so if you have questions, you can answer, ask your classmates questions and things like that. Every chapter is set up that same way. Here's the Excel project. You can look at it. Don't get into it right now. I have students that want to get into it. You can't even touch the project right now and understand what it is you need to do until we get into some of this material. So as we get into this, I'll open this up. I'll give you probably about a week to do the project, and we'll grade it. I'll send it back. If you're happy with your grade, you're done. If you're not happy, I let people resubmit the project, and I only count the highest grade. Okay, so we'll deal with that when we get into chapter 6. Don't sweat it right now. Here's some stuff that we just look at. Here is your study guide for the exam. Those are up here for every exam already, and they're out from day 1. Okay, the study guides were made by students who sat where you are. I did not make these study guides. And the reason I did that is I had one professor in grad school. I took his study guide. I studied that, went through it for like 2 days, thought I knew it inside and out, went to take the exam, and it had nothing to do with the study guide. And I got 40 on the exam. Everybody in the class did. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. So students made that. So if you guys look at it and go, hey, that needs some adjusting, by all means, you're welcome. We'll work on it. Tell me you want to add something to it. If it looks like if it fits in, I'll let you add it in there. Okay. But people who sat where you're at and took the exams made those study guides. Okay. Again, each chapter is set up the same way. There might be some different information about it, but always, you'll always have the PowerPoint in the quiz. The quizzes won't show until I open them up. So don't worry about quizzes or anything like that. Okay. Then when we get down to the end here, after chapter 10, here's the user guide on the BA2 Plus. I think Noah, you asked about the 83, 84. Like I said, I don't use those, so I don't know a whole lot about them. You'll just have to jump on that. If you have the user guide, find it or use YouTube or whatever. Okay. There's some miscellaneous articles I think that I found interesting. I put on here in case students want to read it and things like that. Okay. Is everybody good? Questions on anything? Okay. All right, like I said, a little bit about me. I told you guys I graduated in '91 with a management degree, wanted to have my own business, had no clue. So I went out and got a job, went with the highest paying job I could get. It was miserable for a few years before I moved on. Worked in retail management, corporate management for a while, and then just got tired of the BS and all that. So left, came back to App for my master's, had no intention of working for anybody else. And so I spent my time at getting my master's working on business plans and things like that. graduated and started 3 businesses, a couple of restaurants, a management company, things like that, and did that for about 10 years. And then just, you know, unfortunately, landlord, when it came time to renew my lease, my landlord wanted to jack up my rent, which would have sucked all my profit out. So I closed the restaurants, and the guy left, had his businesses were empty for 10 years. He's renting it now to a guy that was paying the rent I was back 10, 12 years ago. So he lost all that money for nothing. I was a magistrate judge for a while. Sometimes maybe if we get in here before class, we'll talk about some of those crazy stories and stuff. Like I said, I'm easily distracted, and some of them are pretty good. And then ASU hired me to teach full time. I was always teaching when I had my businesses. I was an adjunct and taught those great 8 o'clock in the morning classes that you guys love so much. So I could teach the class and then go take care of my businesses and stuff like that. And they offered me full time, and I'd much rather be here. I can help a whole lot more people here doing this than I could at the magistrate's office. So I played football for ASU back in the day with Coach Moore. So I am pretty hardcore with that and things like that. So the main thing, guys, we're here. I want to help you guys transition. This class, I think, is very practical for you. I think you're going to get some great information out of this class, and some you can use down the road in your personal lives and your professional lives, and really just want to help you guys kind of move on with your college and your careers down the road. I have students who have keep in touch with me over the years, and it's nice to have that. My goal is when we finish, I'd love for you guys to come back for reunions. I would say drinking in the, tailgating and stuff, but they wiped all that out with all those buildings over there. But when you guys come back for reunions or homecoming or whatever, I want you guys to be able to look over at the building if it's still here and go, you know what, that crazy old bald guy told me some things and I applied them, and I'm much better off financially than I could have been. That's what I want to hear and hope to hear from you guys. I don't want to hear, man, I didn't listen to that guy and I wish I would have. I do have students who are like, I'm finally now getting on retirement and things like that, and stuff we're going to talk about in chapter 5. So anyway, I think it'll be good for you. I'm looking forward to it. I hope we get on campus. I'd much rather see you guys in person. But any questions on anything? Everybody good? All right, guys. If you don't have anything else, I'll let you guys run. Go enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys Thursday. For those that don't have the book, don't worry about the quiz. We'll work something out with that, okay? If you get your book between now and then, go ahead and take it. But if not, I think it was James and Ashley. If there's anybody else, just let me know. We'll come up with something for that, okay? Otherwise, I'll see you guys Thursday.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a good day.